When people think of motorcycle daredevils, one name comes to mind: Evel Knievel. Evel was bold, daring, and seemingly fearless. His strong personality and rebel image won him legions of fans all over the world. His legend began to take shape on December 31st, 1967, when he attempted to jump his Triumph over the fountains at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. He cleared the fountains, but had one of the worst motorcycle crashes ever caught on tape. He was in a coma for a month. After that horrible accident, however, Evel's career literally skyrocketed. From that moment until he retired from jumping in the early 80s, Evel Knievel became the most famous and influential motorcycle daredevil ever. However, Evel Knievel was not alone. In the 1970s, several lesser-known motorcycle jumpers were chasing Evel. While Evel was brash, confident, boastful, and in your face, former motorcycle racer Bob Gill was young, soft-spoken, likable, and keen on flying his lightweight modified dirt bike to record lengths. Bob's boyish charm and good looks made him a natural crowd pleaser, and his exceptional ability at jumping his dirt bike over great distances didn't hurt either. The Florida Flyer would go on to capture many world records, and at the same time show the fans that you didn't have to be arrogant to be a world-class daredevil. On the other side of the coin was Joe Einhorn, or Super Joe, as he would soon come to be known. Super Joe was much more like Evel Knievel than he was Bob Gill. Super Joe's natural ability, determined attitude, persistence, and electric personality definitely played to his many fans, and he knew it. It may have started out about the money and the fame, but in the end, it was all about the fans. What Super Joe lacked in professionalism, he more than made up for in bravado, enormous nerve, and just plain guts. But Super Joe always knew the risks, yet he would never back down, and that may not have been a good thing.
They thought Einstein was crazy. They thought Christopher Columbus was crazy, sailing off in the ocean like that. And people think Super Joe Einhorn's crazy. That's not so. I just happen to know what I'm doing. I have not been seriously injured since 1974. I'm not going to be injured again. That's my big thing now. I'm getting ready for Niagara Falls. I'm in condition now. I fell off a motorcycle 2 weeks ago. jump 178 feet or 15 full-size buses, and I walked away like nothing ever happened.
So this is a pretty safe jump for you.
No, this is a real dangerous jump. That's why this place is packed tonight. That's why these people come out here to Santa Fe Speedway to see me, because I almost got killed here 3 years ago. Channel 2 was there, and this is the most difficult track in the world to jump at. There's no doubt about it, and that's why I pack them in here every time.
The following is the story of two of the greatest motorcycle daredevils to ever live and almost die while chasing evil, and the king of the modern daredevils who took inspiration from all three, Super Joe Reed.
I tell you, my heart's pumping, my adrenaline's flowing. I'm going to make this jump, and I ain't a-joking. Going about 85 miles an hour, and I went a little too far, and on the crash I broke my back, collarbone, my shoulder, I broke my arm and my wrist, and crushed a lung, and spent 10 days on a critical list and quite a few weeks in the hospital.
The amazing thing about it is you got over the cars.
Oh, I cleared them. It's a bunch of trucks. I sure cleared them, but I went a little too far.
Scene set, the Toronto International Center of Commerce. The occasion, Cycle 74. This one tonight, without putting more pressure on you, has you concerned. I heard you talking to my colleague, Evel Knievel, and you were telling him how your stomach is turning, which his does too, by the way.
That's right, Mr. Cosell. 2.5 years ago, I jumped at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. I tried this very same jump, and I missed the jump. I hit a wall, hit on at 70 miles an hour. Someone spilled soda pop on the floor. I was on a critical list for 3 days, and at that time I vowed never to jump indoors again. Because the floors are slippery, you got confining walls, and there's lots of things in the way, and it makes these indoor jumps are really tough. And this jump here will be about 130 to 140 foot. It's a big jump.
Howard Cosell, here again with Evel Knievel in the Toronto International Center of Commerce. You're looking at the second pass or warm-up of Super Joe Einhorn. There'll be still another pass or warm-up, but as he came up that very narrow, confined area, I think our initial emphasis should be on that, Evel. How close the area is, how tunnel-like it is.
Howard, I just heard the motorcycle go sour on one cylinder. It's not running right, and he has it in a confined area. He's starting way back in the theater, trying to come up on the power curve to make the jump, and I think that he is having some problems with the motorcycle. It doesn't sound to me like it's running right.
Joe, obviously you're having trouble with the machine. What does it seem to be?
Well, it don't seem to be getting sparked to me.
It's electrical.
That's what I told him. I think I might have blown a diode.
You got a backup machine?
I've got one, but you know how those are. You don't like to use them. I'm going to see if you put another diode in, it might just blow again. And it might not blow, but as soon as it gets hot, it'll blow. And then it could blow when I'm going up the takeoff ramp. And now things are getting kind of touchy for me. And
I know how you feel. I know they are touchy. I know how I felt when a machine is broken down. I I'm not trying to advise you on what to do, but while they're working on that machine, if you get your backup machine started up, let it warm up good, and if you don't have this machine and you let that machine warm up properly, maybe you'll be able to get across on it. But you make the decisions. You're the man in charge of your own performance.
That's what I'm looking at right now, and but the main thing we try to do is not fall short. That's the worst thing you can do in my book, is fall short. And well, all I can do right now is I'm kind of terrified, to tell you the truth,
Joe,
Mr.
you go over there
Cosell.
and take care of your business, and Howard and I wish you the best. You go take care of your business.
And don't do anything foolhardy.
No.
Are you kidding me?
They seem to sense that he's got a problem. We'll see if he gives us the thumbs up signal now and see if he's going to go. He's coming back. There's the thumbs up sign. He's ready to go now, and I'll tell you, he's going to come and he's going to get across this jump. I can feel that he's going to do a thing that he's going to get across it, Howard.
All right. Note again how narrowly confined this tunnel-like area is. Here he comes.
Going, and here he comes. He's hitting the approach ramp right now. There he goes, up and over it, get it across. Look at that
Beautiful jump. He did it. He did it. A great jump, Evel. You've got to give it to that kid.
He did it, Howard, and he had a lot of pressure on him. You got to hand it to him, I'll tell you.
Under the most adverse circumstances imaginable. You can call men like Super Joe Einhorn and Evel Knievel nuts. You can call them publicity hounds. You can call them whatever you want. They are professional daredevils.
The obvious reason that we're here is to see Super Joe Einhorn break his own record, motorcycle jumping of 144 feet. That's ramp to ramp. This time, Super Joe is going to clear 15 buses, which is also a world record. The things you might not know about this young man is that he's 38 years old from Northern California. A lot of his people are watching him out there right now. This is a wheelie done earlier this afternoon as he gets ready. He has broken bones in his body 200 times. He's broken his back 3 times. He's suffered severe concussions 4 different times. Young people, don't go out and try this in your front yard or with a bike. This is for the professionals. Am I right about that,
That's
Debbie?
right. If you just stop and look, you see all the professional people around him. These people are trained. All of his machinery, everything is perfect. He's jumping under perfect conditions.
I am nervous. I don't know if I've ever been this nervous. Forget your Super Bowls and all the things you hear about. This is one man, and why they risk it, why he wants to do it, I don't know. He's got the record already. He's going by. Get him, Joe.
All right.
160 yards he'll go beyond those platforms. And landing,
He's ready for it.
And that landing is crucial, isn't it? You actually flew past your ramp when you...
Most definitely. That's just so crucial. And he'll know once he reaches midair if everything's going to go all right. Here he comes.
He has broken his back 3 times before. He's off. Let it go.
Here he comes.
All right, he came off.
All right.
He got it! Joe got up. The bike is down the right wall. Super Joe Einhorn cleared it easily. Slid off the bike and came up like a baseball player running to second base.
Tell you what, I'm the first one ever to walk away from a jump like that. I tell you that right now, 190 feet, whatever it was. But
here it is, Joe.
Okay, I never thought I'd get. I never thought I'd get it up too high.
What kind of speed?
Oh, I was doing almost 90.
90? Boy, you were down that ramp a long way.
I tell you what. Yeah, well, you know, that's how you get a name like Super Joe Einhorn. You got to be super.
As you can see, Super Joe Einhorn was a true performer, never letting the fans down, always striving not to just break records, but also to thrill and amaze with increasingly daring jumps. This jump at the Santa Fe Speedway pitted Joe against a flaming wall of hay. At 70 miles an hour, Einhorn races up the ramp and blasts through the towering inferno. A perfect jump, this time. Super Joe was always looking for ways to up the ante, to do more unique stunts, always pushing the other daredevils of the day to go further, faster, and higher. In fact, Joe was constantly challenging evil both directly and through his stunts. Everyone recalls Evel Knievel's ill-fated attempt to jump the Snake River Canyon in Idaho, the most dangerous and expensive stunt ever attempted in history. After Evel's attempt at the canyon, the other daredevils took note. They began to think of more and more elaborate and dangerous stunts on an even grander scale. What many people don't know is that Super Joe Einhorn had even bigger plans. Super Joe came up with a hydrogen-powered jump bike, not a rocket cycle, but an astro cycle as he called it. This is what he had to say about it.
Are you really thinking seriously about going over the Niagara Falls? Are we going to just talk for we have about 30 or 40 seconds for you to tell me what's going on. Now we're going to see
I brought my space cycle with me. It's a hydrogen peroxide, real rocket-powered motorcycle. It's not a missile or anything like that. I'm going to go over Niagara Falls next year. It's going to be free to the public. I'm not going to use any parachutes, no life preservers, none of those things.
That little thing there is going to give you that thrust to get across Niagara Falls.
Oh, this is not little. This is, well, it's 750 pounds of thrust, and this will shoot me forward. It'll give me going 300 miles per hour in 6 seconds. And I tell you, you really get smoking on this thing.
Well, Super Joe, it sounds like a heck of an idea, and after all, I guess a guy has gone over Niagara Falls in a barrel, so why not a space cycle, right?
Right. And one more thing, Bill, we just had to speak about Evel. We've been tossing a challenge back and forth for the last 4 years, and the latest challenge was he challenged me to $50,000 to jump off with him. I accepted, and he backed out. He said it wasn't enough money. Just this week, I've attained sponsors in Canada, a group of Canadian businessmen. They're going to back me for $1 million. So right now, if you don't mind, I'm going to use your TV station to challenge old Evel. Evel, I want to have a jump off for $1 million. We'll start at 10 cars, and we'll keep jumping until one man can't continue. And if you can beat me, you can have my $1 million. And of course, I'm looking forward to taking your $1 million.
Winner take all, $1 million.
Right. And I tell you, I'm going to chase him clean out of the country.
But even with the bike designed and ready to go, Joe would never get the chance to jump it, as he would be critically injured in a crash in 1977.
Oh, I'm rich now, too. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I made a whole bunch of money last week.
Oh, good. How much did you last week?
Yeah.
How much did you make?
I bought me a brand new Golden Eagle Executive, the biggest bus there is on the road, the best one, a brand new one, 1976 model, and I got me a great big cattle ranch. And the next time you see me, I'll wear a bigger cowboy hat, too.
Einhorn knew from experience the dangers that he faced every time he made a jump. Here at the Santa Fe Speedway in 1974, he had his first near-fatal crash. Then in 1977, again at the Santa Fe Speedway in Chicago, there was the crash that ended his jumping career and nearly his life.
I got everything we need in the hospital.
All right. Give me some people on the side.
Fear serves a purpose, and I've rid my body of it, but perhaps that wasn't a smart thing to do, because there's certain times in your life that you shouldn't be afraid. And man's main instinct, same with an animal, man and animal, same instinct, main instinct. It's not to collect money or love, it's for survival. Most people take, all your businessmen and everything, they take for granted waking up tomorrow morning. You know, they know they're going to wake up tomorrow morning and the lady's going to bring breakfast to them. they're lucky. But poor old me, I'm going to be awful thankful if I'm around here tomorrow morning.
He could have been better than I was, better than I am. Being a good motorcycle jumper is having the ability to not just do it once, but get back up after you're down and do it again and again, and Joe did have that in him to do that.
You feel all right, though, huh?
Feel alive,
That's all that counts, I guess.
I guess.
Do you remember anything about the jump at all, Joe?
Very little, very little.
And I guess you don't want to remember either, do you?
I do. I want to know.
Well, you'd like to.
I know what happened.
Let me ask you this. You had a great career. You jumped so many times, but if you had it to do it all over again, would you become a motorcycle jumper?
I'm not. I quit. I'm retired now.
You are retired, but would you do it again, do you think?
I don't know when.
You would not.
No when.
Bob Gill was the first motorcycle jumper to jump a lightweight dirt bike and land without the aid of a landing ramp.
Bob Gill, the Florida Flyer, will be at Sportsman Park in Winston-Salem this weekend. As a matter of fact, he's going to be out there for a little while tonight to practice, and then he'll be there on Sunday for the real thing. And Bob, when we talk about the real thing, what is this act you do with a motorcycle?
Well, the real thing is jumping over 5 cars without a landing ramp. What the process is you run at the ramp at approximately 65 miles an hour and try to go over the ramp at with both wheels possibly on the ground. Usually the front end gets airborne if you don't shut off at the right time. The landing has to be correct. It has to be right on, both wheels together. If the front wheel lands first, then usually you'll crash. The rear wheel lands first, the rear shock sometimes collapse. Therefore, you have a big problem. You go down. So the landing has to be right on the money.
Sounds like a hairy way to earn a living, to say the least, but why does anybody want to do something like this?
Well, I was looking for something to do different. I've been racing for about 11 years. I've done just about everything. I've done oval track racing, motocross, hill climbing, scrambles, and even road racing. And I just more or less got bored with it. I wanted to do something really exciting, and I feel as though I have it.
In racing motorcycles, were you ever fortunate to win any of the big championships?
No, I never won any national championships. I won a lot of small races. I won one race which was classified as an international road race at Sebring, Florida. It was 125 miles. That was the only real big race I won. I almost won Daytona in 1964, but I had engine trouble 2 laps from the finish.
I would think from some of the publicity that the sport is getting that motorcycles are coming on pretty strong in the racing world now.
Oh, I'm sure of that. The purses are getting large and the riders are getting faster.
Does that make you kind of want to get back into it?
Oh, I'm sure I would like to try it, but this thing's got me tied up now. Boy, I'm just busy all the time.
How much travel are you doing, Bob?
Well, an awful lot. I plan to go probably 60,000 miles this year. I'm busy every weekend. At least 1 or 2 times a week I make my jump. And they're usually 400 to 500 miles apart. So it's a lot of highway.
I want to get a little background on you. How'd you get started in motorcycle racing, and what propelled you to do this daredevil stunt?
Well, the way I kind of got in motorcycle racing was kind of funny. I had a friend of mine that worked at a local motorcycle shop when I was 14 years old, and I was such a pain in the neck to him. I think he wanted me to start racing so something would happen to me. More than anything, even loan me his race bike. Well, I tried it, and I think I fell off in every corner. And he was hoping, but I always got up. So I think that's how it all started. But I progressed, and I moved into the novice category and then amateur and now into expert last year. And then I wanted to do something really exciting, so I started doing this jump. I wanted to kind of do something like Evel Knievel, but I wanted to do it different. And by different, I'm jumping without a down ramp, and I'm using a smaller size motorcycle.
Bob stole the headlines from Evel when he performed the first canyon jump on a motorcycle in 1972. He jumped an incredible 152 feet ramp to ground with no landing ramp. Then in 1973, in front of 20,000 fans, the big one, a jump of 171 feet over 22 cars in Seattle, Washington, setting a new world record. Bob Gill was also the first motorcycle jumper to perform a stunt for a major corporate sponsor. Ryder Truck Rentals wanted to make a very special commercial, so Bob would attempt to set a new world record.
As I approached the ramp, the motorcycle did not have the proper altitude and touched the 9th truck, skipping across the next two, but I landed safely on the other side.
This jump took place at Sunshine Speedway in St. Petersburg, Florida, and with the jump airing in prime time on all major TV networks, it was a major commercial breakthrough for Gill. This historical lake jump was initially to take place a week or two before Evel's sky-cycle jump over the Snake River Canyon. The jumpers of the day were always trying to outdo each other on their stunts, trying to complete the one that would go down in history as the most dangerous, most innovative, and most creative. This was the biggest and longest motorcycle jump attempted by anyone in the world. His form was perfect. Takeoff was flawless as usual. Nevertheless, he landed short into the embankment at the far side of the lake. A severe and vicious crash ensued, but Bob survived. He was traveling at over 90 miles per hour when he hit the embankment. The impact was equivalent to over 9 Gs. He suffered a crushed but not severed spine, which leaves open the possibility that Bob might someday walk again. After almost a full year in rehabilitation, he built this custom Kawasaki 1973 model year street bike with modified hand controls. After Bob Gill's career-ending injuries at the lake jump, he still wanted to be involved in the business he loved so much. Enter Bob Carell and his kite cycle. Bob Gill used his contacts and helped engineer the innovative kite that would enable a motorcycle jumper to jump and glide hundreds of feet in a single ramp leap. The two Bobs joined forces and took the innovative cycle on the road. Better suited to big air jumps, the kite cycle may not have always performed as well as they would have liked in their exhibitions, but they both enjoyed their work and were still able to please their fans. This is how they wanted the kite cycle to perform every time. This test was performed in Southern California, we believe at Paris Raceway or possibly near Lake Elsinore. It was spring 1975. This was history in the making. You can see why Bob Gill liked the idea of the kite cycle. It was creative, graceful, and it went a long way through the air. Just like Bob himself. And then there's Super Joe Reed. He has been chasing that elusive crown of King of the Stuntmen for more than 20 years. Joe has created more new and original world records than any other daredevil in history. He's worked harder and trained harder than any motorcycle daredevil that has come before him or since. Joe suits up in 100+ degree heat in August 1983. He is going to attempt to jump his RM250 Suzuki motorcycle directly over the blades of 3 full-size helicopters without the aid of a landing ramp, with their sharp steel blades still spinning. Joe not only created this stunt, but he wrote, produced, and directed the short story action documentary for the ABC television network. The show was called That's Incredible. The old record was a jump over 2 helicopters ramp to ramp. If you land short, you die. Peering over your obstacle has become a tradition among motorcycle daredevils. It both adds drama to the jump and gives the jumper one last look at his upcoming leap. Joe must reach a speed of over 90 miles per hour to clear these obstacles. His low trajectory takeoff ramp and high speed allow him to land without the aid of a landing ramp. As you can see, Super Joe should be doing shaving commercials. It doesn't get any closer than this. No one in history has jumped this obstacle or beyond to break Joe's record. In fact, no one has broken any of Super Joe Reed's records. There have been copycats, but none have been witnessed, qualified, measured, or certified as new world records. Joe continued designing, producing, and performing better and more original stunts, like this one in 1988, when he and a partner did a building-to-building dual jump in Las Vegas, Nevada. Jumping directly over Ogden Street, Joe and his partner flew over 100 feet from takeoff to landing. However, not all jumps can be executed perfectly every time. Eventually, the odds catch up to you, and all you can do is hope that you can walk away. Super Joe turned out to be super lucky during this attempt to jump over 4 large wind machines at the Los Angeles County Raceway in 1996 with one hand tied behind his back. The approach had to be in a corner, which didn't allow Joe to get up the speed he needed to clear the jump. Clipping the 3rd fan and crashing over the 4th, Joe smashed into the landing ramp head first. If you look closely at the instant replay, you can see that if Joe's left hand hadn't been tied behind his back, it would have gone right into the spinning blades of the 4th wind machine. Amazingly, Super Joe Reed got up and walked away from the crash. To set a new world record, Joe prepared this amazing feat. Like the jump in 1988 in Las Vegas, this jump would be a building-to-building jump, but this time, instead of 6 stories high, it would be 14 stories. 63 feet apart, Joe would need to accelerate to over 60 miles per hour in order to make it across. Watch as Super Joe, going a bit too fast, lands in the middle of the building and is almost tossed over the other side 14 floors down. Super Joe flipped over the netting and landed hard, but after a few breathless moments, the thumbs up is given and he once again walks away with only a few scrapes and bruises to show for it. Watching in super slow motion, you can see just how far Super Joe jumped and how suddenly his body was tossed over the handlebars and onto the roof, only a couple of feet away from the edge. Jamie Pomatwan, a member of Joe Reed's Super Stunts team, took part in this stunt, riding on the back of Super Joe's bike as he jumps blindfolded. On their test jump, without the blindfold, they can't maintain control and crash as the bike slid out from under them. But on the second try, with Joe blindfolded, they nail it with a flawless approach and perfect landing.
My name is Super Joe Reed. I'm the new king of the stuntmen, and I think I kind of proved a little bit more of it today. I'm the only stuntman in the world in the history of entertainment that's ever jumped, made it, or not made it, and never broken a bone. You saw that crash I took down there? I had a woman on my back as usual. It's either Jennifer Lee, my wife, or it's Jamie. But I protect them as best I can. I try to help them out.
With all of the preparation and planning that Super Joe and his team put into every jump, one can see why it is rare that he or anyone gets hurt. However, in his line of work, there are risks, even with relatively benign-looking jumps like this one in Nevada in 2000. This is one of the only times Super Joe Reed has been seriously hurt doing a stunt. As you can see, Super Joe hits the landing ramp head-on. The front of the motorcycle came back and struck him square in the face, causing more than 18 fractures to his skull and literally caving in part of his face. All the doctors and surgeons that have viewed this footage say that it is the most vicious impact to the face that they have ever seen. They have never seen such a massive injury to the face in such a small, concentrated area. Traveling at 43 miles per hour, he struck a solid steel object, bringing him to a stop in a fraction of a second. The blow was the equivalent of 7 to 8 Gs to the face. The amazing thing is that Super Joe was awake through the entire incident. He felt, heard, and spit out many of the shattered bones and teeth in his face. It would take 7 operations over the course of 5 years for Super Joe Reed to fully recover from this horrific crash. but he would jump again. Super Joe Reed will continue to push the envelope and come up with bigger and more outrageous stunts. However, he will never forget those that came before him: Evel Knievel, Super Joe Einhorn, and Bob Gill. Their innovative stunts laid the foundation for Super Joe Reed and others to build upon. Their flair, confidence, and skill will forever be etched into the annals of daredevil lore.